Right, what we're going to do is put the T-moulding on. This is the T-moulding we've bought. Black and shiny, very nice. So first thing we need to do is get our router bit. Ta-da! Got this from Groovy Game Gear, and it's 3 32s rather than 1/16, which is the difference between 1.5mm and just over 2mm. Okay, it's got a nice little bearing which spins around to guide you on your wood, and how it works is your router goes down, it slots into the groove and it spins around, and the bearing keeps it steady all around your shape, and it also keeps it to the right depth, which is approximately half an inch. Right, one thing we need to do is get ourselves a marking gauge, and this is 18mm MDF, which is roughly 3/4, and here we have a spare bit of wood with what I think is halfway mark. So we've got a rough estimate of the halfway mark. Doesn't have to be exactly a straight line. Okay, so we've got the wood clamped down and we've put the router bit so it's looking roughly halfway, and then what we want to do is make sure that it's going to spin round the correct way. What I mean by that is, if you look at the router bit, we need it so that when it spins round, it's the cutting blade here goes through the wood in this direction. There's been quite a few forum cases where I've seen where people said there's lots of smoke and burning, and that's because it's been going through the wood backwards. Okay, so just plug it in, do a quick spin, and then once it's slowed down you can see which direction it's going. Okay, if you want one of Neil's top tips, is make sure it's not plugged in, otherwise you might cut your fingers off. Okay, there's the router. On my router bit you can see there's an arrow and it actually tells you which direction it's going. So if we spin it up, we can see it was going counterclockwise, which is exactly what the router said. So what we need to do is do a really quick test. Okay, when you're doing your test, make sure you do it on the edge because you'll not get it right first time. And I haven't got my glasses, but look at that. And it's like knife through butter. Okay, so there's the slot, and what we'll do is just put the groove in, and then we need to bang it in a little bit with our wooden mallet with a little bit of paper to make sure it doesn't get damaged, because I haven't got a rubber. Okay, as you can see, that was completely in the wrong place. We've got about 2mm here and 2mm on the bottom, so we just need to raise it up just a little touch and then try it again. Okay, so I did a second cut, and as you can see it looks near enough perfect. So what we'll do is we'll cut the entire length of this bit of wood and see if it all fits. Okay, now to move that extra millimetre, what I did was on the router it comes with a gauge on, and it hits a stop. So I just unloosened the stop, moved it half a millimetre, and then put it back on, and then I produced this. So let's go ahead and... Okay, so I've half assembled my cabinet already. So rather than putting the wood on the workbench, I'm just going to get the cabinet, put it on its side, and that should be a handy height for each half, and then just flip it over. Now obviously what you need to do is make sure that the wood's solid. So if you look on mine, I've got MDF struts all the way across the side and the back's on, so nothing's going to flex inwards at all on the wood, so we'll know it's going to be pretty safe. And I'll be back in a few minutes after I've lifted this rather heavy cabinet. Okay, here we are, the cabinet's on the side, ready to route. Now MDF produces a lot of dust, it also gives you cancer, so the first thing you do is you need a mask on. Second thing you need to do is, if you've got a motorbike, you need to cover it up. Okay, there we go, all covered up. If you've got a car, it doesn't really matter, bikes are what counts. Okay, and this one is a lovely Yamaha FZ6. Good. There we are, a lovely router hole ready for the T-moulding. And one thing you've got to be wary of is take your time, because if you don't get the depth all the way through, then when you put your T-moulding on, it'll not go in and you have to take it all off and route it all again, and you might have already painted it by then. Okay, so go slowly and push in, especially on the curves. Okay, so what I've done is I went over the side of the cabinet twice with the router bit, so hopefully everything should be covered, but if not, it should be okay, because the T-moulding doesn't go anywhere near as far as the ½ inch that the bit cuts, so everything should be good. And there we have it, the router bit cut, the slot cut. You'll not see the end result until I've painted it. Hopefully that'll be another tutorial. Goodbye.